Do you want to know the basics of going off-road? What type of off-roader you are, the tools that you need to go off-road, and how to drive in a convoy? Then sit back, relax, and enjoy the video series with Zayed. Congratulations and welcome to the off-road family. This video will be a start of a series of videos explaining more about driving off-road and giving tips and tricks about going off-road. So make sure you don't miss any of the videos by subscribing to the channel and hit that bell to be alerted once I upload a new video. First, let's start with knowing exactly what type of off-roader are you. Off-roaders are mainly divided into 4 types, so make sure you know exactly what type you are to know what tools and what skills you need to learn to go off-road. The first type, which is the most common type, is what I call them the weekend off-roader, or some might call them the seasonal off-roaders. Those off-roaders usually go during seasons only. They most of the time go to the same locations. They know very basics of off-roading skills, and it's more likely a hobby for them rather than a sport. And then the second type is the explorers, and those ones like to drive in a safari style most of the times, like a smooth and relaxed drive to explore new areas, usually to camp. They know advanced off-roading and recovery skills, since they actually go to a lot of remote areas. And then the third type is the overlanders. And the overlanders almost seem like the explorer. However, they covers a longer distance, most of the times between even countries, and their main goal is the trip rather than conquering obstacles. And then we come to the fourth and final type of off-roaders, is the pro off-roaders. And those off-roaders are really high skilled in off-roading. They like to explore new terrains. They are very dedicated to the sports throughout the year. They don't have a specific season for it. Their main objective is to conquer obstacles, and sometimes at a really high speed. They take off-roading as a sport rather than a hobby. So those 4 types of off-roaders are the ones you need to consider which type you are in. Either the seasonal off-roaders, either the explorer, the overlanders, or the pro off-roaders. So decide to know exactly what skills you need to acquire and tools. Before the drive, remember this point. Always wear seat belts, and if you have kids, make sure they're sitting on their proper seats. The more you drive off-road, the better you will get. Learn and understand your car. It's your main survival kit. And then remember, gravity is your friend. Never fight gravity, you will lose. Imagine that you are driving a big truck when you drive off-road, so don't try to make sharp turns to avoid getting stuck or having a pop-out. Always remember when you drive off-road that you drive a 4-wheel drive car, not an all-wheel drive car. Make sure you have the basic tools like a deflator, tire pressure gauge, air compressor, 2-way radio, jack board, shackles, and a safety flag. When you go off-road, make sure that you deflate your tires to have a bigger footprint. And also deactivate your traction control and ABS so your car doesn't interfere with your off-roading. When you drive and off-road, make sure that you're on manual gear, not on a D. and wear boots if you're on a hot sand like this one in summer. First aid is very important. Keep it in your car and make sure your spare tire is in a good condition. Make sure your car have a proper towing point, and also make sure that you have a GPS with a traction option. Some apps on the phones can help as well. And if you drive in the night, make sure you have an off-road lights, and always remember to have plenty of drinking waters. And last thing, make sure you have a gloves, because your car can get really hot. Usually the dunes have two sides, so you have the hard side and then you have the soft side of the dune. Usually where the hard side is where the wind blows from in this area, so you know the terrain of this area, how is it? Some dunes have plantation on them. These dunes are hard to hit, they're not soft, and the dunes keep changing their location and shape, so be alerted on that one. Let's start with how to climb a dune. So you come to the desert, you're driving, and then all of a sudden you have a dune in front of you. You come straight to the dune, you're at this position. All you can see now is just a blue sky. You can't see what's going on the other side of the dune. Now most of the people will get scared, they don't know what's on the other side of the dune. So what they tend to do is they come all the way to the top here and then they brake and they just stuck. Now all their four wheels are in the air and they will actually need to dig under the car or have somebody to pull them out. Some others will come all the way to the top before even reaching the end of the dune, and then they will stop. Now because again they get scared, they just see a blue sky. If you're in that position, there is no harm to actually keep trying more and more until you get used to it. However, if you're in that position, always you went up straight, you come down straight. So you come up straight like this, and you get stuck for some reason, you come down straight. Never ever when you're on the top of the dune you turn like this to come down, because the minute you turn like this, the sand will accumulate under your wheels and then you will roll over. So safety is very important. Make sure if you go up straight, you come down straight on the dune. The other part is, so you're coming up here, as I say, you can't see anything, you just see a blue sky. So how can you tell when you reach the edge of the dune that you're on the other side? Well, there are three ways to know that. First, and the most useful one I would say, is you just have to look under the side mirror. Under your side mirror, just look underneath it and then you will see the edge of the dune. So you're coming like this, you look under your side mirror and you will see the edge of the dune, so you can see when you're approaching it. The second method is, if you're in a car and you see the edge of the dune, if you see it coming in the back of you, so it reach next to you, just behind you, that's mean you actually crossed it and now you're on the other side. The third way, which is a lot of the pro offroaders use, is they just go for it and then the minute the car goes down, they hit the brake to know exactly what's on the other side. So they stay basically facing downwards. This brings us to the subject of braking in the desert. When you're in the desert, never ever hit a hard brake. Always be gentle on your brake, because the minute you hit hard brake, you actually sink in the sand and it will be really hard for you to come out of it. You might even get stuck doing that. So that's when it comes to the dune. So you ascend the dune safely straight, you come down straight. When you come down, if it's a big dune, try to go straight down. Again, never try to turn the wheels on the side. So as I said, when you climb up, you get stuck, you come down straight. Same thing when you cross the dune, you go down straight. However, if you're coming down and for some reason you started to feel the fishtail, which is the back of the wheels will start to turn, like, you know, on each side, fishtailing, especially on the big dunes going down, naturally your mind will tell you to hit the brake. Now what will happen when you hit the brake is your car will, so you're coming down a dune, you start to fishtail, you hit the brake, and now your car will turn, and once it turns, it will roll over. So what do? You come down on a big dune, your car starting to fishtail, and instead of hitting the brake, you need to actually accelerate to a limit to straighten your car. Try to control your acceleration and you will see your car straighten up. And then just before you reach the bottom of the dune, hit the brake gently to reduce your speed so your bumper doesn't hit the ground, and then you can smoothly go on the other side. So that's basically for the dunes, going on top of the dunes and coming down from a dune. Now you know the basics of going over the dunes. So let's go to the next subject, which is driving in a convoy. Hello adventurers, so now you know how to climb up dunes safely. Now let's talk about driving in a convoy. It is a very popular way of driving in this region, which helps in using the terrain to our advantage instead of the power of the car. Make sure that you always keep a distance between 3 to 4 cars, which is basically 15 to 20 meters between the cars in front of you. It's the most safe distance in case of a sudden stop, or if you want to hear his engine power while climbing up, to help you understand how tough is the terrain in front of you. And when you stop, make sure that you keep a distance between the two cars. Never stop like this, because if this car gets stuck, this one cannot actually escape. And then if this car wants to leave, if you have a distance, it can easily leave the area. And always park on a flat area. And when you park behind each other, always park like this on each side, so if anybody gets stuck, you can easily move away. The convoy usually have a leader, is the pathfinder, which chooses the track which is suitable to the lowest level car or driver in the convoy. Usually he is more experienced to see faster the dangerous area in the track and to understand the terrain and select the safest track for the convoy. Now when it comes to the convoy order, you have the leader in front, and then you have the second lead, which comes under just behind the leader. You have the rescuers, you have the sweepers, and you have the floaters. The second lead role is to take the convoy to safety if the lead car is stuck, or taking the convoy to a safer route in case the leader asks him to do so. And then we have the sweeper. The sweeper stays all the way behind the convoys to make sure no one is left behind, and report to the leader if there is any issue at the back of the convoy. Usually the sweeper is very experienced driver. And then we have the floaters. The floaters float around the convoy to make sure that the convoy is safe, to keep an eye on the convoy and the rescue, and if there is any car that is stuck, that's the job of the floaters. And then you have the rescuer is placed in the convoy between the cars, usually between the beginners. They're more experienced to help and rescue if needed. Usually the rescuer is more experienced driver. So that's the order of the convoy. In the convoy, make sure the communication is clear. It's very crucial when you drive in a convoy or a group to have a way of communication like a two-way radio. Always report immediately if any incident, if you get stuck, or if you want to do any other attempts, you have a second try, you have a technical issue with your car, or you have a pop-out or flat tire, etc. Always make sure that you report to keep the communication going on so the leader of the convoy knows what's going on. When you communicate, always identify yourself. So for example, if I want to communicate, I would say, this is Zayed and the Gobi Jeep, I'm stuck. Press and hold for like half a second on the two-way radio before you actually talk. Then you can talk. If someone is talking actually on the radio, just wait for them to finish, then you can start to talk. Now let's talk about the danger zone when you drive in a convoy. So for example, let's say these two cars probably driving in a big convoy. However, so one car passed the dunes, came to the other side, and then get stuck here. This guy didn't report what's going on with him. So the rest of the convoy don't know exactly what's going on behind this dune, because this guy can't see what's behind the dune. Now that's especially if it's a big dune. So if it's a small dune, usually they will have a flag. That's the job of the flag, is to alert the drivers behind if something wrong with the car or if it's stuck. However, if the dune is big, this driver cannot see that this driver gets stuck, and this driver will come here. Again, as I said, you see only the sky. He comes down like this, and all of a sudden this car is in front of him. So he hits brake and stop like this, and now this area is called a danger zone. What do I mean by danger zone? It means it's not safe for anyone to approach. This guy is stuck. This guy cannot move because this guy is in front of him. Now the convoy leaders or the rescuers need to come and plan the rescue of these cars in the danger zone, and they have to make sure that no one else enter the danger zone. Now when we come to the rescue, there should be only one person that leads the rescue. Most of the times when you go to unorganized off-roading groups, you will see that if somebody gets stuck, everyone will give them an advice of what to do, how to turn, how to get out, and it's gonna be chaos. So make sure you always have one rescuer, which is mainly the most experienced guy in the group. When someone is rescuing you, so let's say you get stuck, this guy is a rescuer, he comes, he wants to give you an instruction of what to do to rescue you out. He's standing in front of you. If he asks you to turn right, it doesn't mean it's his right, it means you're right. You have to turn right. We have seen in so many events that the car being rescued, they follow the directions of the rescuer. When he turns right, he thinks that's the right of the rescuer, not the driver itself. So make sure when you hear the instruction, it's your right or your left, depending on what the rescuer advises you. So this is how to drive in a convoy. Make sure whatever you do, you're always safe, and follow the convoy order as much as you can. At least if you're a small convoy, you always put the leader in front and then the sweeper at the back, and they should be the most experienced guys in the convoy. If you have the rescuers, again, put them in the middle, and if you have really advanced drivers, then put them floating around to make sure the convoy is safe. So this is how to drive off-road. I hope you enjoyed those lessons, those tips and tricks on driving off-road.